It's a big deal to me if you don't know. Now you know I'ma change your life. Just put your hands in the air.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Tiffany Berry here. Today I am with Bishop Dr. Sanders. How are you today, Bishop?
Doing good.
That's
Doing
good. Awesome. So really quick, let us know a little bit about yourself, where you're from, the church you reside over.
I am from Sandusky, Ohio. It's on the north coast of Ohio, between Michigan and Ohio, between Toledo and Cleveland, small town, Sandusky. It's the home of Cedar Point, one of the biggest resort parks in the country, vacation land. That's me.
All right. Well, thank you for allowing me. Thank you for sharing your time with me, of course. So really quick, we're just gonna jump right into it. You know, there's a lot of different questions as far as what's going on within the church, and you know, are they exploring the outside world, the community? So what we want to know is, what are you doing to improve the understanding, the information, and the unity within your community?
Well, I think my background, I'm an academician by profession, so I teach at one of the colleges. I teach in areas of race and diversity and multicultural issues. And so that's one way of always being connected to the outside. I formerly wrote a column for the local newspaper, the opinion writer. And so that also is an avenue to always keep the channel open with the community about feelings, about things, about the social stuff that's going on. So I've done that personally. And the church is just involved in anything from providing foodstuffs to the conventional vacation Bible school where you bring the kids in and other things of that nature and stay connected to the community.
Most definitely, and we can appreciate that. So, you know, by you being a shepherd over, you know, a congregation, you know, by you're preaching to the people, you're teaching the people. But what ways are you giving back to the economic development within the community and within the congregation? You know, how are we improving the economic status?
That's a good question. And I guess that would vary on churches depending on the size of the communities, depending on you know, the industries and the availability inside the communities. I come from a really small community. There's not a lot of, it's not an impoverished community because it's in vacation lands. It's a pretty wealthy area. But there's not a lot of opportunities to be involved in, you know, giving back in terms of economic development in our community.
Yes.
It's a small community where we, most of the factories, like a lot of the cities in America, is closed down. The minority population is not really large. It is a vacation land area, service kind of community. And so that's just the makeup of our community. So we might not have the opportunity as, say, a larger area to do the economic kinds of things that we would want to do in our community.
Most definitely. Now, you know, in different, you know, majority in the African American community, there's a lot of resources that we lack. And so sometimes we look towards the church to try to, you know, improve those things. And you know, when you don't really have the financial stability, if you don't really have the support from your political figures or even the city, how do you stay above ground? How do you keep a level head, you know, to try to lead that congregation when you lack so many resources?
Well, I think at that point, at that juncture, you know, you bring the community together. You create a community within a community.
Yes.
And I think we as black people have always done that. You know, given, you know, no matter what size the congregation, what size the area, we support each other the best that we can. You know, we have within our church structure benevolent societies where we help those that don't have as much, and we do it with ourselves. I think when we put in and give out to each other, then we help ourselves. And then you get whatever outside help you can get as you go along. That's what we do. That's how we have been able to stay afloat, been able to handle, you know, these dire economic times in which we live in.
Yes. And now, one thing I do want to touch on, the whole Black Lives Matter movement. You know, people don't want to address the racial issue that we have. You know, people want to put it off. And a lot of times we find, you know, some people who are afraid to speak on it because of fear of the backlash they may get. What would you say to those people, especially our leaders, not just our pastors, our bishops, but our political leaders, the leaders of the community? What would you say to them to make sure that we are comfortable as a people?
Well, the Black Lives Matter movement, I think, is probably one of the most important statements that have been made by people in quite some time, at least a decade or two.
Yes.
And I think it is a very, very important movement. And the church has got to play even a bigger role in supporting the message of the Black Lives Movement. We've got to, because this is all we got. We don't have the civil rights infrastructure that we once had.
Exactly.
We don't have the leadership that we once had. And therefore, we've lost a lot of power, a lot of the vocal power that we once had. We don't have. So these young people who have sprung up, and I don't say out of nowhere because they come out of history. It's a continuation of the fight that has gone on ever since we've been here in this country.
Yes.
But it's a very, very important aspect of the social scene today. Because if a black life don't matter, then no lives matter. And that's the message that the rest of the country has got to get. And the times that we live in this presidential election, we have never seen anything like this. And at the very bottom of this is the core root of America's problems, and it is racism that's still there. And the remnants that just keep rising. And maybe one of the issues that we're having, we just don't have leadership to say to us nationally, let us do this or let us do that. And so out of that vacuum comes Black Lives movements and other social movements that just spring up. Where the church has got to realize that this is really our time and our day and our hour to really speak up. Church has been pretty prosperous in the last couple of decades. And I think prosperity, if we're not careful, will blind us to all of the issues that are going on in the rest of the world. So, the church has got to speak up and say, we're with the Black Lives Movement. We're definitely, we understand what these young people are saying. They're saying that they need economic advancement. They need education advancement. We need to do something about this justice system. We need to do something about it soon.
Yes.
And so that's my feelings. And I think that's got to be the feelings of the black church.
Absolutely.
And I think we're going to be forced to say something. The ones that are not saying anything, we will be forced if things continue to go the way they're going. And I don't see how they're going to change. Maybe we got to wait till after the presidential election to kind of get a feel for where we are. But we will be forced to make some statements and take some actions.
Absolutely. And I totally agree. And I love that response that you gave, because a lot of times people, they get content with the things that's going on in the world. They just feel like it's not going to change, so why say anything?
Right.
So their response was perfect. So before we end here, is there any last words you would like to give to your city, to our city, or just to a nation as a whole?
Well, I just think that we just got to keep this fight going. It's not over. We have not come to the end. There is no post-racial society. We got to be constantly, totally conscious of the times in which we live in, because these are the times that try men's hearts. And if we're not careful as a black people, we will lose so much if we don't open our eyes and pay close attention, and then bind ourselves together in a unified way to fight anything from just social justice, the mass incarceration movement, the economic conditions. And I'll say this, if there ever was a time that we need to go out and vote in this presidential election, the time is right now. This is the time to do it. If we need to realize that the progress that has been made under this last administration, President Obama, if we want to continue the growth and development that we have, no matter how incremental it has been, how slow it has been, if there ever was a time that we need to be serious, it's now.
Absolutely, and I totally agree. And I thank you so much for sharing your time. I thank you for your words. And I believe a lot of people should feel the way that you feel. We need to say something and we need something done. So thank you so much for that. And Kansas City, once again, I am with Bishop Dr. Sanders. And for more videos, check us out at WhatsupKansasCity.net. And remember, if you don't grind, you don't shine, you don't work, you don't eat. So make it make sense, Kansas City. And we are out.
I'm IFBB Bikini Pro Cat Williams, and when I'm not working out in the gym, I'm searching the web on Cascade Media and What's Up Kansas City. So make sure you check them out.